Yeah, testing this out is not any problem at all. Glad to help. Just to give you some quick information before I actually do the test to see if the reset settlers work, because I know you don't really have the NG version. I have GOG 2, and I'm absolutely glad they locked it at 163. I'm glad they locked it OG. But I'm actually using the Steam version. So in a sense, I have an OG version to mess with and a next gen version to mess with without actually having to roll back, quote quote, roll back the actual game. So I can actually test both. Okay, so up here, I want to show you that the DLL is not loading. And I know this is not familiar and it sometimes doesn't mean anything if you see it. But what I do is I wrote a program that looks at the F4SE log and checks for these files. When it finds an entry in the log for these DLL files, because this is what F4SE loads, it looks to see what the text of the entry is. And if it's ref equals 0, then the DLL didn't load. It wasn't loaded by F4SE. And usually that means that for some reason F4SE thinks that the DLL is not for its current version. I don't know what gating the programmer did to determine that. I mean, I would just literally be guessing in the dark or try to throw myself as how I would do it. But that's what that means. So I do know the DLL is not loading. So that we know for sure. That's why I was asking. I wasn't sure what the purpose of that DLL is. F4SE, I know I do know that extends the functionality of Papyrus, but mod authors can hook their own DLLs in through F4SE, and I wasn't sure if that one was absolutely required by the mod, because if it's not being loaded by F4SE, then that means that for some reason, that functionality won't be there. Okay, so let's do the test. All right, so I've got the trunk over here. Here's the trunk. Okay, we can see the objects that are in it. Let's do it like this. We can see the objects that are in it. And I haven't tried this before, so we're gonna test this. So let's go ahead and put the ES, I believe, or the ES holotape into the. Let me see here real quick. Did we get this? We did. Okay. I actually just woke up from. I just woke up something, and oh man, I wonder if I even. Never mind. So okay. So here's the ES control tape. So let's go ahead and fire that off. Okay. So unlocked. I've got the trunk unlocked. So I'm assuming if it's unlocked, that means they can't get to us. I can't get to it. So let's do reset, and let's see what happens. Okay. So let's see if it worked. Okay, see, here's Mama Murphy right up here. And that's Curie. So Curie's my companion. She has armor. So let me look back at the trunk here. Okay, so yeah, see, I think everything is still here. And what I was trying to get at was if the F4SE F4SE is loaded, because I should be able to do a get F4S. Let's see, I think it's F4SE version, and see it is 0.72. So I am on NG next gen. It's the 1.94, and I am using the 7.2 version of F4SE. So I don't know if compiling it for anything other than the 7.2 version of F4SE, when the DLL is compiled, if that makes a difference. So I'm assuming each version needs a version greater than itself or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the mod author did, but I am using 0.7. I am using 7.2 of F4SE, and I think there's like a 7 something else. So we'll try it again here real quick. Remember, that's Curie. I manually gave her that stuff. So there's Curie. Here's Preston. And I don't know. Let's just make the radius. Let's go ahead and advance the radius up. So let's put the radius. Let's max it out and see if we can't dump some of this gear. Let's make it full sized here. Okay. And I think that's what triggers it if they're within a certain radius. So let's try this again. Reset all equipment. Because I think what that the radius does, that area radius, I think that's the trigger. That's the event trigger. That's Curie, so she already has gear, and she's my companion actually. So there's Mama Murphy, and she still doesn't have. Let's see.
Let's trade some things.
Let's look at her inventory real quick. Yeah. So I don't. I think the reason that it's not working. We'll go ahead and set this back to, I think the reason that it's not distributing the, the gear is because, let's see, we want to make this as close as possible. I think the reason it's not distributing the gear is because the NG version of F4SE is not loading, it's not actually loading the plugin that your scripting needs. I've not looked at this. I haven't looked at the script. I don't know what calls are being made to the EquipSettler's DLL, but that's why I think it's not working. And I think like I said, it's probably going to work just fine if we can get a good compile on that DLL. So I don't know if compiling to the 7.2 version of F4SE is the problem. That I can't honestly tell you without looking. I can say that I did get more tapes in the trunk. So I already got a couple. I already got tapes from the trunk. Let's see if it's in, let's go look at the workbench real quick, because when I first dropped the trunk, it had a tape in it, which was perfect. I dropped the trunk over here, which also had a tape in it, which was perfect. First time the trunk gets dropped, it has a tape. So let's see what's in this one. See, it looks like there's two tape. So there were two tapes in that other trunk, and there were two tapes in this trunk. So it looks like it's counting it looks at the number of trunks that are dropped, and that's the number of ES tapes that it gives me. So let's take a look here at inventory. Let's go in over here. See, I already put two of them in my workbench. See, there's already two in the workbench. So then I have two from, these are two from the two trunks I dropped the first time. Then when I came back in, I checked each trunk, because when I dropped these, interestingly enough, when I dropped the first trunk, it had one tape. When I dropped the second trunk, it had one tape. Now when I come back into the settlement and I open up each trunk, they each have two tapes. That's where the 4 comes from. Two tapes in each trunk. So for some reason, when the cell loads, it's actually putting the number of trunks you have, the number of tapes, it's putting them, and I think it's a shared trunk. I think what it is, there's some part of the trunk that's shared. So when you drop one tape in one trunk, it's also replicating it. It's one trunk. So so when you drop it in one trunk and then you drop it in another trunk, it still shows 2. Well, that's not true, because then I wouldn't have 4, I would only have 2. But anyways, I wanted to show you this behavior, so that's just something I wanted to help test out for you. So I now have 6. So what I'd have to do is I would have to literally fast travel away and then come back to see if it resets. And if you need me to do that, just let me know. It's not a problem. And yeah, I'll see if I can help you get this up and running for NG users. All right, so if you need anything, just give me a holler.